What is up, guys, and welcome to Build. Today we're working on the wide body SL500, but before we get to all of this craziness that I just did, let's look at the front and see what we did. Last week on Build, we started fabricating the kit. This kit is off of an E46 M3, and we wanted to make it fit this car, so it meant patching in a lot of pieces. Now this looks a lot more rough than it is, but it's solid, and we're gonna be able to make it smooth in this video. Off camera, I filled all this in with fiberglass. You can see we glued it in with the filler on the front, but the back is fully fiberglassed in, and these pieces are strong. It is all one piece. So what we have to do now is just mount it to the front and smooth it. Before we get into all this and get distracted by bodywork, I want to get to the rear and make sure it's all fabricated so we can just smooth everything in one good go and then paint the car. All right, so we have waited overnight and this stuff is totally dry. So we're gonna pop it off, we'll trim it, we will bond it to the fender, and then we will have a custom fender. Does it look brighter in here to you, Eric?
A little bit, yeah.
There we go. All right, so you'll notice we hit this with a grinder. Anytime you're gonna bond to fiberglass, or really bond to anything, you need to key the surface. And keying means you're putting like little teeth in there. So I use a grinder because it's fast. You can use sandpaper or whatever, but that'll make sure that this has something to grab to. We also did it to the back of our part that we're bonding. That way it has something to grab to there as well. And if you do that, it'll hold forever. It's a mechanical bond, not a chemical one, but it'll hold forever. All right, so we got a successful bond here. All the screws are out and the fender will just pop off. If you look from the back, you can see a lot of material is bonded onto our fender. This is never gonna go anywhere. We may reinforce from the back if we feel like it, but I just don't think it's gonna be necessary. We'll smooth all this out in a later step. First, we gotta make some clearance for these wheels. So pretty much every wide body I've ever done has required us to take the fender wells out, mostly because of how low the cars run, but also doing all this cutting and stuff, it's just not practical. There are some disadvantages, but if you're doing this to your car, you're not worried about rock chips and stuff. So we're gonna get rid of these. It's gonna give us more clearance and allow us to really make sure that everything's real smooth up in here, so that we hopefully don't scrub while we're driving around at our super, super low ride height. Alright, so we just got done with the front end. Pretty simple stuff here. We lowered the car down to match the rear. Ended up taking 3.5 coils off, which I know is a lot. You can comment below about how mad that makes you. And we cut the front fenders, so we've got plenty of travel room now. Not that we need that much, but we do have room for the body to go up and down. And oh, another thing I did is pull the inner fenders off. So we were hitting the inner fender when we were turning on the inside. Pulled those off. This car has tons of room behind the fenders for the wheels to turn, so I think it's just gonna work. The next thing we're gonna do is back this thing out, get it outside, kind of look at it from far away, see what that looks like, because it's been a while since we've done that, and then maybe take it on the road and just try to drive it and see what happens. All right, so we've only made it out of the parking lot. Oh, you know what? I did it again.
What?
I did not tighten down the lug nuts on the front wheels. Yeah, we're gonna just flip around real quick. Oh, it's starting to start freaking raining on us. How frustrating.
Yep, it's sprinkling.
Sorry, everyone. Dude, this car. I think they were yelling at me. This car feels good. It feels like a lowered car. Try not to hit anything. It works! So basically all rear quarter panels are 2 pieces. And so when you do this cut to make room for your big wide body wheels, you have to put them back together. The way I do that is I make these relief cuts and hit them with a really big hammer, and it pushes them back up into our new cut. But we still have to seal this thing off from water, and we need to rejoin them so that it's structurally sound again. So we're gonna clean this up with a grinder. We're going to weld all these little tabs to the quarter panel again so it becomes one piece. And then we'll cover it with some fiberglass filler to make sure it's watertight and just kind of finish off the look of this inner fender. It's gonna be really, really nice. I think we're ready to get to work. Let's gear up. Finished up all of our welding and put on some fiberglass filler. It doesn't look pretty, and you could make it look pretty if you really wanted to. I just don't really care. I'm only putting that stuff on for waterproofing and to make sure everything is sealed up. So I don't care if it looks pretty. It's underneath the fender. You'll never see it. And with that, we are done with our fender modifications. This is huge. This is probably the most stressful part of doing any wide body. Getting your fenders cut, getting all this new stuff to fit, and still being able to turn the wheels and all of that other stuff without anything rubbing. It's really, really difficult, but fortunately for us with this car, it was actually super simple. So with the rear fenders all sealed up and done, with the front fenders cut and all of our wheel arches or wheel liners removed, our car is ready to go for a drive at its new height. All right, so we have this thing all the way modified. We've got our fenders cut, welded up, everything is good to go, and it's lowered as much as we can possibly lower it. So we gotta test the suspension out. We gotta make sure this thing's actually going to work. So we brought it to basically the worst roads in our town, which is all of our downtown roads, a lot of bumps, a lot of dips, a lot of potholes. We're gonna drive it around and just see how it handles that. And then we'll get it down the road a little bit, take some turns, and see how it feels. So far though, we've been really impressed. Well, we made it a block, and it overheated. As you can see, that's coolant. It's supposed to be inside the car, and it is no longer inside the car. It started steaming like crazy out of the vents. I don't know why. Now, our original coolant leak came from the front of the car. This one's a different one. So, yeah, we're a little bit stranded. Maybe it was air in the system. That's what I'm kind of hoping. I doubt it, but maybe. So what we're going to do is ride over to Eric's house, which is like a block that way, and get some coolant, put some coolant in it, and just see what happens. Hopefully it works. Hopefully it starts. Let's take your favorite Carnivores t-shirt, wipe it down, just get all that out of there, and then you just stuff it in right there. Okay, where are we going, Eric?
Just a block over
and
then to the right.
And to the right.
Yep.
All right, we're at a normal operating temperature. Let's try to get this light. This is fine. We're fine. We're gonna be okay. I thought I had all the overheating issues solved, but here we are. And it's maintaining temperature now. What is going on? Very lucky to be right next to Eric's house. All right, so we drove the car, and it didn't want to drive, but we made it work, and it honestly rides pretty good. Both of us are very surprised at the smoothness, if you want to call it smoothness. If you've ever driven a slammed car, this feels just like that, like something that's like slammed on coilovers. That's what this car feels like. More importantly, it looks sick. It is so, so low. We took it on the roughest road in our town, which is like this cobblestone brick thing, and it's got a bunch of holes and stuff in it, and it handled it like a champ. we've gone around some turns kind of fast, and it handles that like a champ. We've got no scrubbing whatsoever, which is awesome. In any sort of lowered or wide body car, to not have scrubbing is just incredible. So we're really, really happy with that. We do have some sort of overheating problem that's fogging up our windshield, but we can see mostly, so I guess we're okay for now. And it does seem like we're staying cool. So I'm hoping maybe there's just some air in the coolant system that caused everything to get real hot real fast, but we'll get that addressed in a later episode. For this one, I think we're done. We did a good job. Everything works, everything's sealed up, and we are finally ready to finish out our body kit. So in the next episode, we are going to be throwing the body kit on. We'll be grinding it down, getting it smooth, and then filling and sanding it and making it all just perfect. I also have been working on a secret bumper project that will come out midweek this week, so you guys get to see kind of how I fixed and modified the bumper that was already on the car and made it a one-of-a-kind custom thing. So that's a bonus episode. It'll come out midweek. But I'm hoping that by the end of next week's video, we will either have the car all the way in primer or have it all the way in paint. It depends on how complicated we get with paint. But one or the other, it's going to be ready to go, either primer or paint. You'll have to subscribe, you'll have to watch to find out. So, I hope you guys are enjoying this video. I hope you're enjoying this series. Me and Eric are loving filming this. Shout out to Eric for filming and editing this whole thing. Let us know what you think of the new style of built videos. We'll see you guys in the next one.